Hello. Thank you for joining me as I read some more of my book, Revelation. Newcastle. My God, Garrison, what is happening? Jeanette screamed as she turned to look at him. He is hideous and he's reaching out for her. She turned and ran, crying, pleading with Garrison to stop. She ran up the staircase to a hallway with massive paintings and tapestries on one side and big windows on the other. The lace curtains were billowing from the wind through the open windows. She can hear Garrison's voice calling for her. Stop running, Jeanette. Come to me. No, I won't. Stay away from me. Jeanette ran from room to room, but all the doors are locked. She found one door open and hurried inside and shut the door and locked it. Jeanette leaned her head against the door and began to cry. A moment later, she heard Garrison on the other side. He pounded on the door. Let me in, Jeanette. You have nothing to fear from me, my love. She yelled back, I don't want you to love me. I want you to let my family and friends go. She slowly backed away from the door. I can't do that, for very soon they will all be like us. I saved your sister for you. Jeanette shook her head. For me? She replied in disbelief. Yes, my love. You can be the one to bite her. His voice seemed farther from the door now. You are mad, Garrison. I could never hurt my sister, my family. I'm not like you. Do you hear me? Jeanette shouted as she continued to back away from the door. The room is dimly lit as her eyes slowly adjust to the light. She turned to find a monster's fiery red eyes looking back at her. She screamed and turned to run away. Something deep within her made her stop and slowly turn back and walk toward the creature. She reached her hand out and touched it. It is cold and as smooth as glass. It is a mirror, and the reflection is her own. She screamed and woke up. What a horrible dream! Jeanette yelled out as she sat up in bed. Sandra hurried to help her sister. You were tossing about so violently, I thought the bed was going to go through the floor, Sandra replied as she helped her sister up from the bed. She put her arm under her sister's arm and pulled her to her feet. Jeanette's eyes grow wide. She can hear Sandra's blood flowing through her veins and her heart beating. She can smell her now. She smells so intoxicating. Jeanette pulled away from her Sandra and turned toward her, crouching like a tiger before it pounces on its prey. She hissed and growled at her, and then Jeanette leaped forward toward her sister. Sandra waved her hand and Jeanette flew back like she hit a wall. She got back to her feet like lightning. Jeanette looked at her sister through eyes of blood amber. She now has a mouth full of daggers and saliva dripping down her chin. Her fingers have elongated a bit, and her skin is as pale as her skin had never seen the sunlight. Jeanette helped or leapt to the ceiling and hung upside down, watching her sister. Jeanette's lust for blood is strong, and her tongue slithered out of her mouth like a snake, and she hissed at her sister. Then she leapt again and flew back. Sandra walked toward Jeanette, and with every step, the binding spell pushed her back. Sandra kept walking toward her sister as the binding spell repelled her. After a few more steps, Jeanette is pinned against the wall. Sandra waved her hand and began to speak. You be calm. You will be relaxed. You will act like Jeanette one lifetime back. Jeanette began to breathe slower as she slid down the wall to sit onto the floor. Her eyes changed back to emerald as tears began to flow down her cheeks. Now that she realized what she had done. Sandra, I'm so sorry, as she dropped her head and cried. Sandra said, I'm sorry you have to carry the burden of being a vampire, but maybe with my magic, it can be more of a gift than a curse. We can look at the brighter side of death, as Sandra tried to calm her. Brighter side of death? Jeanette replied sarcastically. Sandra, there is no brighter side of death. Jeanette, you are the brighter side of death. Your heart is pure, and you love the man that you killed. By doing so, you released him from his curse. He, he fed on the blood of humans and felt no remorse. So the curse damned him to eternity. You, my sister, have remorse, love, and compassion for all mankind. You will never feast on the innocent blood of a human. You will never be like Garrison. There is a drink for you on the table. It will sustain you and nourish you. If you drink these, you won't hunger for human blood. The spell I put on you will keep you from hurting anyone. Jeanette walked over and picked up the glass. Thank you, Sandra. Jeanette drank all of the potion and put the glass down and took a deep breath and released it. She walked towards Sandra and put out her hands, and Sandra took them, and they stood there facing each other in the middle of the cabin for a few minutes. Then they started laughing, and they hugged each other tightly. Sandra, I don't believe this, but I feel great. I feel strong. This just might work. Yes, I know, Sandra said with a laugh. Jeanette stopped and looked around the room. I can see everything. I can see Garrison's father's face. His name is Alexander. He is handsome. Garrison looked a lot like his father. I guess it's what he would have looked like if he had been older and had some gray in his hair. I can see Blackwood Manor and all the grounds. There is a barn and it's full of black dogs. Those are not just dogs, Jeanette. Those are the hounds of hell, guardians of the vampires. What else do you see? She asked her sister. I can see all of the rooms and halls. There is a great room in the center of the manor. It has an altar table with large candlesticks as tall as a person on each side. Two massive chairs, or maybe they're thrones, are set far back behind a wooden table. There is a dark place below this room. It is very deep and has many caverns. Jeanette, do you see more vampires? And if you do, how many are there? Sandra inquired. I believe I see 30, maybe 40. When we get to America, I have to find Akashi. But first, we must find a place to live that is far away from everything. I took most of the money and the bonds from the safe. I think we should be all right for a while, Sandra explained. Are you sure that book is in South America? Jeanette asked. I think so. From the last information I received, it was being guarded by a powerful white warlock and two of his most trusted witches. If Alexander is searching for this book, he will find out it's in South America too. Jeanette cut her off. Wait, I'm seeing someone else. Anthony. Anthony Lombardi. What did you say, Jeanette? Anthony Lombardi? Sandra gasped. He is different from the others, but he's there with Alexander, and he can walk in the sun. Sandra, he picked up my scent from the bookstore, and he has talked to Uncle. One of my students told him about you. Well, Jeanette, we have no time to waste, Sandra replied. Sandra, I can see Alexander's thoughts and actions, but what? I can't see Anthony's face, Jeanette replied with disappointment. That is interesting. I think I might know of him. I have heard about a very powerful warlock named Lombardi. He is very old, hundreds of years old. In America, we will have new lives, and I'm looking forward to a new life now, Sandra said, trying to reassure her sister. Excuse me, pardon for the interruption. This is Poe again. The light tries to teach the new witches and warlocks about the dark ones so that if they ever encounter one, they would at least get away from them. Sandra knows quite a lot about Anthony Lombardi. She knows that his master was Domenico Sarto, one of the very first dark warlocks made by Satan's demons. Anthony is very good at making friends with the most powerful warlocks and witches. He also has a plan to cover himself and his family in case of an emergency. Domenico was one of the most powerful dark warlocks that Sandra had ever heard of. She knew that she was going to need the help, lots of help, to keep from being found by them. Once they were safe in America, she would find more white orders to help her. There had to be more witches and warlocks that wanted to find a cure for this curse. Sandra was going to find Akashi if it was the last thing she ever did. She was not going to let anything or anyone stand in her way. Sandra told Jeanette that she had procured a 2-room compartment on a ship that was leaving that very evening to America. She packed some food and other items for the trip, and that the sun was about to start to rise, so they had to hurry. The accommodations are not going to be what we're used to, sister, but I guess we're going to be doing a lot of things that we're not used to, Sandra told her, with a little sadness. Jeanette waited by the door for Sandra while she loaded the buggy. Sandra walked back to see Jeanette standing in the corner, pouting. Sandra asked, "What is wrong, Jeanette?" "The sun came through the door and touched my hand and burned me. I forgot I can't go in the sun." "Don't worry, I have a cloak for you to wear. It was a costume we used in one of our plays. It is a few sizes too big and will cover all of you and more," Sandra giggled as she replied. Jeanette put it on and it dragged on the ground about 2 feet. "It will be a long and arduous journey," Sandra admitted. They loaded the buggy and they took off. Thank you for joining me this week